All right, good evening, everyone. You know, life is about choices, and choices have power, but not all our choices have the same power. So tonight I want to talk to you about the power of choice. In 1972, I was married to my childhood sweetheart, Sadie, and I called her, for illustration purposes, my Rose. And when we got married in 1972, life was good. We lived in San Diego, California, had 2 beautiful children, lived in a big 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, owned 4 cars, 2 of which were Mercedes-Benz. I was a licensed real estate broker, co-owner of a real estate firm. And if you had asked me where I was headed, I would have told you that I am on my way to the top. I was a young man moving up the proverbial ladder of success. I remember it was the summer of 1979, and I was standing in the kitchen of a friend's house, and her friend came in, and he began to use drugs. He was smoking cocaine. And I remember he took this bag out, and he poured this substance on the pipe, and he took this heat and put it to the screens, and he took in a big puff of smoke, and he blew it out. And I watched as he did that. And then he turned and offered me some. And in that moment, I had a decision to make. I could choose to say yes, or I could just say no. I chose to take that hit of cocaine, and the power of that choice changed the course and destiny of my life. Before that year, 1979, was out, I was hopelessly addicted to smoking cocaine. G.D. Broadman said, "Sow an act, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny." And that day, my destiny changed. Because before long, the house was gone. Then the career was gone. The cars were gone. And in 1981, I did the unthinkable. I walked out on my Rose, pursuing the new love in my life, cocaine. My life was all about this rock. Even after a close brush with death, the power and the control that this rock had over my mind was devastating. And I remember we'd been talking about dreams all night, and I was on the corner of 91st and East 14th in Oakland, California. And I was in a crack house. And I remember waking up after a 3 or 4 day binge. And I remember waking in this crack house, and it was smelly. The plumbing was cut off. And I remember when I woke up, my head was lying in a 3-inch shag carpet. And I lay there, and I opened up my eyes, and I looked around the room, and beer cans and other addicts passed out. And I took inventory of how far down I had fallen. And I remember talking to my sister on the phone. And I told her, I said, you know, I am so tired of using drugs, and I want to make a change in my life. She said, Dwight, if someone will get you a ticket, will you take the plane ride from Northern to Southern California? And I told her yes. And ladies and gentlemen, I got on that plane the next day. And when I got off in Ontario, California, all I had left were the clothes that I was wearing on my back. I had lost everything. And I remember standing at that curbside. I was guilt-ridden. I was sick in my body. I was still addicted. I was homeless. I was just a shell of this man I once was. I had failed everybody. I had failed the God that created me, the wife that loved me, the children that needed me, and even the friends that had trusted in me. And standing there, I wasn't sure who was going to come pick me up, because the truth was nobody owed me anything. And standing there, I remember watching the cars as they went by, one by one. No one had a clue that this shell of a man was standing there. And I remember looking, and there, coming around the corner, in an old Chevy Nova car, was my wife. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she should have did a drive-by, but she didn't do a drive-by. My rose came up, and she pulled around that corner, because here's what I want to let you know. When she could have chosen to hate, she chose love. And when she could have chosen revenge, she chose to forgive. And it's been said that forgiveness is like the sweet fragrance that a rose leaves on the foot that crushed it. And I had crushed my rose. But her decision to forgive released a sweet fragrance of hope in my life. I got in that car when she pulled up, leaned over and kissed her as if I'd been on a 3-day business trip. But I'd been gone for 5.5 long years. And we left that airport that day, headed down the long road to restoration. I was getting and receiving all of this love and forgiveness. At the same time, by night, I was still chasing this rock. And that struggle went on for another 2 months. The struggle went on and on until one day, one evening, the 3rd Friday of June, 1986. And I remember my nephew was there, and I saw him, and he had some drugs, and I came over to him. I said, "Give me just one hit." He said, "No, Uncle, you've had enough for tonight." I said, "Vincent, please, just one more hit." Remember, he gave that hit to me. I put the heat to it, blew the smoke out, and I turned to my friend, and I said, "Man, that's it. I'm through." But I walked out that door and walked over to that sister's house that had prayed for me, and I got into her hallway, and I fell to the ground. But this time, when I fell to the ground, I cried out to the only God that could save me. I cried out to a power greater than me. I rolled around in that floor, and I don't even remember how long I was down there, but all I know is that I wanted to be free. I told the Lord, I said, "I cannot take this anymore. You've got to set me free." And ladies and gentlemen, here's what I want to report to you. That when I got up off of that floor, from that night until this day, I have been totally and completely drug-free. And to God be the glory. And I went home that night. Oh, hallelujah. I went home that night. And my wife didn't know it. But when her husband came through that door, the battle was over. And for the last 20 years, we have been restoring our life. We've been married for 34 years. I thank God for the victory over the rock. But most of all, I thank God for my rose. And since that time, I've been able to be restored in my career, with my family, restored to my children. Remember the day I woke up and looked at on the mantle there, and there was my son with Little League pictures. And the thought came to me that I had never played catch with my son. and he dealt with anger for a lot of years. But I thank the Lord that even our relationship has been restored. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of choice. But most of all, my victory came in the power of forgiveness. Sweetheart, thank you.